Hi guys, and welcome to a battle between Noob for Life, who's going to be in charge of the Lizardmen, up against Darth Pendragon, who's leading the mighty High Elves, with Alefanar as his lord, which is a pick I always love to see. So let's get into this and have a little look at the armies. So Noob for Life has gone very cheap and cheerful for the majority of his front line, which is actually quite nice to see, particularly in this matchup. So for the front line, he does have a couple of units of skink cohorts with javelins. Now these little fellas actually do a fairly decent job here. High Elf spearmen and so forth can't deal with them very quickly, and they do have the little poison javelins they like to throw, which can do some really nice early harass, and they're very quick, nice mobility for them, especially compared to Saurus warriors. And in the back line, or the secondary line I should say, he has 1, 2, 3 units of the red-crested skinks. These guys come with their nice little spiky mauls, the little red mohawk kind of flaps they have on top of their head, and just a little bit more elite than the basic skink cohort, have a lot more AP and can do a decent job, especially against units of spearmen and so forth. Now if we ever take a look, it looks like Noob for Life is trying to overload this right hand flank with his cavalry, and he has got 2 units of the Cold One Spear Riders. Very good in this matchup. They can easily deal with Silver Helms, Illyrian Reavers, and get round the back, which is quite nice, because up against High Elves you're probably going to have to get in there and do some nice backline harass. In the very far back here, one of my favourite picks here is the Amaxon Barb, which is raised on the Hunt and Pack Regiment Renowned, and these guys just look so unbelievably cool with their blue colour scheme. Overall, not the most competitive pick, but they do drop some armour-piercing shots, and I have found opponents do tend to try and focus them down way more than they're kind of worth. They put so many resources into taking them out, and that allows you to just go around the battlefield and do the damage with your other units. So, leading his army today, he does have the mighty Krokgar, another pick I really love to see, a really cool legendary lord, and I'm assuming he's coming in with the Hand of the Gods. So, he has come in with the Sacred Spoiling of Huatl, which gives him that nice 22% physical resistance, plus 18% vigor, which is very nice. But the Hand of the Gods is a magic missile, which does huge damage if it can connect, and can pretty much one-shot wizards, do huge damage to lords, especially flying lords and so forth. It is very, very powerful. Looks like he's also gone for an air core with the Pohawks Sentinels, Regiment Round Pterodon Riders, and a standard unit of Pterodon Riders, already taking some early fire here, added mobility, and they do have a little rock drop, which could do some nice damage. It looks like he's in fact gone for 2 wizards here, so we do have the Skink Priest of Beasts up on a Pterodon with Transformation of Kadon, getting a nice Manticore summoning, which is almost always fantastic value. We also have a Skink Priest of Heavens with Wind Blast and Harmonic Convergence. Harmonic Convergence, a big buff spell, which is very good to drop on people like Krokgar and so forth, and Wind Blast, so good at getting rid of Sisters of Avalon and people in tightly packed formations. Now, speaking of tightly packed formations, we have the High Elves, who of course love those type of things. Now in the front line, he's gone cheap and cheerful as well, with 4 units of Spearmen dotted across the front line in a nice kind of C shape right there. These guys hold the line for absolutely ages and allow the rest of your army to do actual damage. And we can see he's definitely got to come in with a plan. But first of all, looks like he has 2 units of Silver Helms, one over on the left-hand flank here, and one running up the gauntlet down the centre. Over in the distance, he does have some Illyrian Reavers, and up in the sky, he has the Fire Pigeon itself. The Flames Fire Phoenix can float around. It's basically super tanky, can drop some nasty fire poos as well, which bombs the enemy and does some moderate damage. Now, the main crux of his army is all based around the back here, so it looks like that was getting underway, so I'm just going to pause it quickly, because this is a really cool build. So, he does have a Mage of Light up front. Now, he's got a Banishment, Net of Amantok, Fast Protection, and what on earth is this? He also has the Book of Hoeth there. So the main thing here we want to focus on though is the Net of Amantok. So you can pin people down and they cannot move, of course making them much more susceptible to range fire. And boy oh boy does he have a ton of range fire. 2 units of the Sisters of Avalon, one being the Ever Queen's Court Guard, so Regiment Renowned version. Huge damage dealers, very good against Lizardmen because they're fantastic at destroying armoured foes like the big dinosaurs and so forth, and just have so much damage output. You have to be very careful though, as Wind Blast can destroy them. So 2 units of those with Alefanar, my favourite High Elf Lordling. Out of all High Elf lore, for me, he's 100% the best. He is the Shadow King, awesome badass, and he's got this epic moonbow here. He's going to be doing a ton of long-range damage. But overall, not the most competitive pick, but what he's done, he's dropped the Handmaiden of the Everqueen in the middle, which is a hero who I pretty much never see, right? So she's a hybrid weapon specialist, but her main ability here is what she brings to the table with Enchanted Spyglass, plus 10% missile damage to all people within radius. And as you can see, both units of Avalon plus Aliphanar are getting that bonus, and she of course gets it herself. There's also the Horn of Isha, increasing their reload skill and melee attack, which just makes them a little bit more tanky. Quicksilver Shot as well, plus 10% reload skill. So these guys are getting hugely buffed, and there's going to be a massive fire base here. And if he can protect it with those spearmen, he could be in a very good shout. So let's get this battle underway. Pohawk Sentinels already taken quite a batter in there. Looks like they took a couple of shots from Aliphanar, and the Flamesfire Phoenix hopping straight into that front line, being very aggressive there, which is fantastic play. There's not too much here which can hurt him, so he might as well pop in there and do the damage while he can. So let's get rid of that here, a little tooltip, and as we can see, the Skink Priests are flying very dangerously towards the enemy here, and as we can see, the trap is going to be sprung, and Nev Amentok does come down, and these sisters are just going to switch their target. Flamesfire Phoenix coming in for good measure, and they are obliterating the Skink Priest, but in retaliation, Krokgar with the Hand of the Gods, which we already spoke about, almost one-shots that Mage of Light there, coming in, doing some huge damage, and almost breaking him instantly off the battlefield. You can also see a Manticore summoned to help with that backline harass. And Axon Barbs, unfortunately, have taken some damage, but now they've got up into range, and that, with a rock drop as well, has obliterated one unit of Sister Avalon almost down to half health instantly. So these guys are really starting to struggle. It's a fantastic play with the Pterodons, but now they've dropped their rocks, they're not going to have too many good targets. So, we do have a little fight up in the air, but unfortunately the Skink Priest of Beast does in fact go down. It was being hunted down by the Flamesfire Phoenix, and some nice play. Illyrian Reavers, who were hiding up in the trees here, have wrapped around this front line and sprung on top of the Amaxon Barbs. However, Big Papa Krokgar is on duty to get in here and just start slapping some of these Illyrian Reavers all around the field, and those guys aren't going to stand much chance, unfortunately for them. Pterodon Riders are doing their best. They're hopping into combat against Sister Avalon. They will lose this fight, especially considering the +5 melee attack the Handmaiden has given these guys, but it is distracting them and allowing the Lizardmen to try and slowly grind out this frontline engagement, which is the engagement they really need to win. If they can break through these spearmen, the Sisters are going to be doomed and completely surrounded. Looks like the Ferroman's Core is going to disappear soon, but it's hopping in, trying to do some damage to Aliphanar. Looks like that Mage of Light has survived, which could be very key if he still has those nets available. In the background, Flamesfire Phoenix has hopped on top of the Maximum Barbs, but this is what I was talking about. This Flamesfire Phoenix is spending all its time trying to chase these guys down. They took up some of the ammunition as well, which could have been much better used on top of Krokgar and so forth, and now this Flamesfire Phoenix is getting pinned in place by all these little Razordons, allowing some cold ones, and Big Papa Krokgar charging in there, rampaging, roaring as he does, and he will decimate this Flamesfire Phoenix. Now, really nice play here by Noob for Life. So as you can see, some of these cold ones seem to be coming in for a different angle. So what happened is, in the main part of his army, charging from the front, but he dragged them around the side, allowing some cold one speed riders to overlap around the side, and then come back in and pin this Flamesfire Phoenix in place. Now he has nowhere to go, and he is simply going to get munched on with those rear attacks by Krokgar, and you know, you don't want to be taking it in the rear from Krokgar on top of a Carnosaur. It is not a nice day for anyone involved. So that Flamesfire Phoenix is getting an absolute pounding right now. Now the front line, Spearmen are holding really, really well here. They are up against little skinks, so you know, you expect it to kind of be a bit of a limp noodle contest here. But the Spearmen, you know, they're doing their best, but they will slowly get dragged down by red-crested skinks and so forth. And in the back line, it looks like we do have one unit of Cold One Riders who have managed to pop on top of unit of Sister Avalon, but in return again, absolutely blitzed here by the Everqueen's Core Guard, and in fact, they are broken. So very nice play here by the health player, managed to stabilise his back line. He needs to get these guys now assisting in the front, taking down these Cold One Spear Riders who are constantly doing these nice cycle charges in the front, and also he really needs to deal with this full health Krokgar. So Max and Barbs, they're just chilling. Let's see how much kills are up to now. 23, which isn't too bad. They've been a nice little distraction as well. They're just going to be slinking around the right-hand flank here and popping up. Looks like they're going to be chasing off some units and maybe getting some nice flank attacks on the Sisters of Avalon, who are now switched their targets to Krokgar. As you can see, doing pretty massive burst damage, to be honest. And if there is another net left, he could be in deep, deep trouble. He has dropped Sacred Spawning off Throttle down, giving that 22% physical resistance, and he does come with a Hand of the Gods. Now, he really should have targeted the Mage of Light there, would have instantly one-shot him and finished him off there, but instead he goes for the Handmaiden, and in return gets netted by the Mage of Light, who he could have avoided this situation, but he's now taken an absolute beaming from the Sisters of Avalon. Looks like one of the units is out of ammo though, and is going to have to go up into combat, but he's taken a huge amount of damage from all of those shots. Aliphanar, the Handmaiden, and also the Sisters of Avalon, and it looks like he's going to be turning tails and fleeing. He's trying to get out of there, but now he's just taking those rear attacks, and he's going to be running for the hills. Cold One Spearoids desperately trying to get into the back. It looks like the Amaxon Barbs have a really nice hill advantage now, firing some shots in and disrupting the Sisters of Avalon. And the Cold One Spearoids have now just hopped on top of these guys and are going to be tearing them apart quite quickly. And they're simply about to hop on top of Alephanar as well. So all of a sudden, looking very, very tasty for the Lizardmen. They are actually down on the power of balance here, but I think if we take an overstock off the battlefield, this Krokgar should rally. It looks like he does, in fact, rally just there. There's nothing really left to protect this very range-centric kind of core to the High Elf army. I mean, again, there's not too much for the Lizardmen, so it could go either way, but as long as he keeps Krokgar safe, maybe there's a couple of cycle charges in, he should be relatively fine with these skinks dragging down, these very battered spearmen and these range units. And yes, Sister Avalon are very good in combat for range units, but they still are melee range units, sorry, not melee units, so they are going to struggle quite badly. Now these Cold One Spearoids are fighting Spearmen, which isn't where they want to be. They want to be pulling out, letting the Skinks deal with those guys, and hopping on top of the Sisters, and the heroes basically drag them down. Looks like one unit is rampaging and just feasting on some very poor Spearmen who have formed kind of a circle of death here. The Skinks running in between them, swinging up their legs, and being eaten there by Cold Ones, which isn't a really good fate for anyone, I don't think. So Krokgar coming in for a nice charge, trying to pick off that Mage of Light, which is probably a good bet. Trying to finish him off as quick as possible. Goes in for a nice little swipe there, and is he gone? I think he just belly flopped him out of existence there, and the Mage of Light is down, so no more of those cheeky nets. I mean, if he had enough money for like a banishment or Winds of Magic, sorry, he could maybe rout a lot of this Lizardman army, so it's quite a nice pick, pulling him off. And Alephanar, he's dropped slippery, but he is surrounded by little skink cohorts who are just absolutely cobing themselves towards him, leaping up and down, trying to hack him apart, and he's trying to be a little sneaky devil and escape. Looks like he's in fact going for the ultimate monster heart to the clutch move here. If he can take out Krokgar, they have a really good shout of actually breaking the rest of these units. All he really has left is the Handmaiden of the Everqueen. This unit is going to be breaking in a sec, and Alephanar, but if you can take out their leadership, maybe there's a chance to hold the line and break this Lizardman army. But Krokgar is an absolute monster of a combatant. He has dropped Sacred Spawning as well, so he's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. He is just down to 370 health, however, and Alephanar does hit pretty hard, but he does his nerves of steel eventually bend and break, and that's a Pyrrhic victory for Noob for Life. Let's go to the end stats here and have a little look. So I did notice through that replay that the sound wasn't very loud in the battle for some reason, which is very strange because I haven't changed my settings. So apologies for that, but I'm looking for that for the next replay. But let's have a little look at the armies here. So, two very unique and super cool builds, to be honest. I really like the skink kind of centric build, going for these really cool red crested skinks, skink cohorts, and having that as your main line, and the rest of your money being spent in skink priests and losing all that different magic. Krokgar, big tanky lord, the Amaxon Barbs, this kind of really interesting Terran Rider tactic as well, which I don't think paid for itself. The bombs did actually manage to wipe out one Sister of Avalon pretty effectively down to about half health, and then they managed to disrupt, so they did do very good, but I'm not sure if they quite paid themselves. And some fantastic Cold One play coming from Noob for Life as well. Use them to react and tear down that Flamespire Phoenix. A lot of people just tend to send Cav whipping round the sides, which can be very good, it gets a lot of backline harass that way and so forth, but use them as a reaction force is equally important, and I think we saw that really, really well portrayed there by Noob for Life, so very well played to him, representing Clan TC, it would seem. Now for Darth Pendragon, super cool and unique build. I think against a heavy dino build, big monsters and so forth, which a lot of players won't bring against you if you're high elves, but if they did, this would have melted them. You could see how much damage output those Sisters of Avalon had when equipped, when aided alongside by the Handmaiden of the Everqueen, plus Alephanar tore Krokgar to pieces in a matter of seconds. So really cool build, using that net, using that high damage output, and tearing apart that army. But overall, very well played to both players. Big congratulations for Noob for Life for winning, but also for sending in the replay. Now, if you guys would like to have your battles cast upon my channel, just feel free to get in touch with me on Discord. My name on there is a Rubber Duck of War, same on here, on all the big Total War Discords and all that good stuff, so you should be able to find me fairly easily. And yeah, just contact me, I'm always happily cast. Now, we've been away for a little while, didn't have any videos last week, but tomorrow we have a very special video coming up, which I'm going to leave as a surprise actually. I'm not going to say anything about it, but make sure to subscribe, like and all that good stuff, and check out future videos. So until next time guys, peace, stay awesome.